What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the game room. Today we're going to carry on in my series about my game collection, so today we're going to feature my Nintendo collection. And we say I've been with Nintendo for a long time. They're basically my favorite manufacturer of the major ones, to be certain. So I started out my console journey on a Super Nintendo. I didn't get it when it came out, but I got it within a few years of its launch, and I've basically progressed through all the Nintendo consoles. I've basically had most of the major ones. I missed on the Wii U. I'm currently looking out for a Wii U before the eShop closes and the games go up in price. Anyway, so I'm looking for a Wii U, and also I believe the Virtual Boy didn't get released in this country. I don't think it got released in Europe anyway. Anyway, I've had nearly every other major Nintendo console, so I'll work my way through the collection, going through each system in turn, and I'll show you most of the major games. So before I start, I'll show you roughly what we're going to look through. So these are all my Nintendo games pictured on the floor. So we're going to basically go through them all and tell you a little about each. I'll try and aim for about an hour for this video, and we'll see how long it takes. Okay, and also before I say, in the UK it's fairly hot at the moment, so my latest addition to the game room is down there. It's a fan. It's by Zanussi. They also make other electronic goods, and they also I believe they make coffee machines. So in the UK it's been quite warm recently, and this is good. I don't have it turned on at the moment, but when I'm playing and it's hot, I turn it on. And when you say over the PC though, it can be a bit loud depending on what setting you have it on, but there's two different speed settings. Anyway, that's the fan. And also, before I start, I'm going to link my collection as I do normally on price charting, for those people that like to look up the prices and see what it is. Let's say so anyway, let's get on with the games. So for first start, over there you see the first console we're going to feature. It's hiding behind the Xbox Series X. It's a Nintendo Switch though, for those that don't know. So the Nintendo Switch. I think my dog's trying to get in actually. I'll see if she wants to come in. Yeah, she's trying to get in. Let's see if we can get her come in live. Soph, I can hear you. Yeah, she was trying to come in. She was upset she'd been excluded from the filming area. It's my dog anyway, Soph. She's been on my videos before. She's a Shih Tzu. We'll see if she comes. She's probably going to sit on me. Okay, so Soph's with us now. She's going to be probably here for the rest of the video. Anyway, let's start with the Switch games. So I got my Switch during lockdown. Basically, I didn't get it on launch. I believe it might be the original edition of the machine. I'm not sure I think so certain editions of the Switch, I believe, have a better battery life, and I'm still unsure if it's the one with the better battery life. But I got the machine with Mario Kart, a carrying case, and the Pokeball controller. I paid somewhere around 150 UK price for it, and the person delivered it to my door, so I was quite happy with that. Anyway, the thing with the Switch is, I love the Switch. We love it for the first party Nintendo games, but the main problem with the Switch is the graphics on the thing. They are basically, so most consoles now you can basically play the games in 4K. And when you sit on a Switch, the games definitely aren't in 4K. They're in like 1080p, I believe. And when you're playing in handheld mode, they go down as low as, say, 720p, I believe, is what it looks at in handheld mode. Now, the Switch games, you can technically play on things like Yuzu, which is a PC-based emulator, which you can play the games on, and they will upscale them to as high as 4K. But if you're playing on the original hardware, and I say I don't mind emulation, but I say I enjoy playing on the original hardware more if I can, so I try and buy the original games. Anyway, so apparently then the Steam Deck can probably run the games better than the Switch at the moment. I mean, say the Steam Deck is basically trying to emulate a Nintendo Switch in some ways, in which case it looks like a handheld, a cross between that and a PC. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting a Steam Deck at some point and trying it out. Anyway, also, so the problem with the Switch, some of the games don't have anti-aliasing and stuff like that. So I'm basically using this which is an M Classic. Well, that's the box for it. It's basically an upscaling device. You basically have to plug it into the HDMI port in the Switch, and you put it on this green setting now, and it's basically like an upscaling device. It's by Marseille, which is like a French company. The green, if you have it in the green setting, it basically upscales the picture. It doesn't improve the resolution to a huge height, but it puts anti-aliasing, and it has a sharpness filter on it, so it basically smooths out the pixels. It's particularly not noticeable when the Switch struggles with more realistic games, whereas the games like Mario that are more cartoony, they don't seem that bad in terms of thing, but on the games that are trying to push for realism, such as Monster Hunter, it seems to make a difference, and this is the best way I can do it by using the original hardware. Hopefully Nintendo will come out with a Pro model at some point, but I'm not sure they're doing it at the moment because the system is selling too well. Anyway, let's move on with the games. So first of all, I think this is one of the only games I got on launch. So I got Pokemon Sword, which is the continuation of the Pokemon series. So I'm a big fan of Pokemon. We're going to see most of the games in the series in this video. So this is the one which is based in the region based on where I live, which is in the United Kingdom. So this is based on the United Kingdom, whereas the next one coming out is going to be based in a region which is Scarlet and Violet, which is going to be based in what's a region based on Italy. Anyway, so I enjoyed Sword and Shield. I got it. I got the DLC as well. I've finished all the main stuff, other than I haven't collected all the Pokemon. But let's say I enjoyed it anyway. So some people aren't that keen on it, but let's say, Pokemon games, they're all worth buying if you can, because they all go up in value, and if they're locked in the Nintendo console, that's Pokemon Sword. And then there's Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, which is the remake of Pokemon Diamond, or Pokemon Pearl, as they say thing. I mean, say why they didn't remake Pokemon Platinum, which is the improved version of of those games with the additional content. And this is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I would say it also came with some pre-order things. So when I pre-ordered it on release, and I'll show you the pre-order things I got with it. I believe it's a statue. So this is a statue of Daliga, I believe. It's still in the bag, in the wrap. So I haven't removed it. This is Daliga. Oh, my mum's coming on. Does he want to be on YouTube? He's trying to bribe my dog into coming to eat its meal. Are you going, Soph? Yeah. Nah. She's happy here at the moment. Anyway, we're carrying on. So we're going on to the next thing. Oh, she's off. She's off. She's gone to eat her food. Yeah. Okay, so we've got the I believe that's the ring that came with it. It's the pre-order ring kind of figure. I've never taken out of the packet. There we go. She'll come in a minute. Then we've got more Pokemon games. So this isn't a main series game. This is Pokemon Arceus. Pokemon Legends Arceus, to give it its full title. So now it's more like a Pokemon game crossed with an open world game. So I would say it's similar to something like a Monster Hunter, where you have to battle the Pokemon in more like a Monster Hunter kind of format. It's very different to anything else that they've done in the main series of games anyway. Oh, the light's just annoying me. I'll see if I can sort it out. Anyway, that's Pokemon Arceus. It also came with a steelbook, so I'll show you the steelbook. That's the steelbook. And I think that's the only steelbook in my collection, because I don't seem to have any, for the reason I've been buying games for ages, and don't think I've ever had a steelbook. Anyway, that's the steelbook for Arceus. Well worth trying out if you're waiting for the next Scarlet and Violet, and if you want to try something else. I mean, to say that's Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, so that's basically a remake of the first game. I think it's technically the Pikachu version, which is the improved version of the first game. And it's available in Let's Go Eevee, and there's also Let's Go Pikachu. The Pikachu one's more expensive, because apparently Pikachu is more popular than Eevee. Anyway, I'm also playing as Pikachu in Pokemon Unite, which is also it's also available on the Switch. It's a free-to-play MOBA game, which I'm really enjoying at the moment. I'm enjoying it. I've got like 60 hours in it or something. I'm trying to go up the ranks. I think I'm on 2 ranks off the maximum. Anyway, so that's Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Also, this is basically like also came. You can use the Pokeball controller, which is this little thing, which I also got with my Switch, which actually goes for a fair amount. I think it's like a 40, 50 pound unit. And you can also use it with Pokemon Go on the phone as well. You can use it as like a motion control. So this game has more like motion controls, but you can use the more traditional controls as well. So see, if I'm using the more conditional controls, I use my Switch Pro controller, which I'll also show you. It's up here somewhere. So that's the Switch Pro controller. I recommend it. It's around £50 UK price anyway. I mean, to say this is really good for playing the games, because I don't feel the traditional controls on the Switch are that sturdy, and the Joy-Cons are prone to going. Anyway, that's the Switch Pro controller. I'd recommend it especially for games like stuff like fighting games. It's really useful for. I mean, it's sort of like they're fairly sturdy. I don't see it going anywhere. Right, so that's the Switch Pro controller. Right, I mentioned fighting games, so we've got the fighting game on the Switch. There's a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and we say that's the price I paid for it on the box. That was the UK price I paid for it in was it CX? I got it from, I believe. And we say Smash Brothers. They keep releasing characters for it on. They keep releasing characters for it. I don't know how many they're up to now. I think it's something around 50, 60 characters for it. I mean, say I haven't got that many hours into this version, but I've been playing Smash since the original Smash on the N64. And I say I will play this version some more at some point. I need to say this was the game I got with the Switch. So this is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So this is Mario Kart. So this came out earlier in the Switch's lifespan, and now they've decided to release DLC for it. So they're releasing what is going to be 8 waves of content for it. They just wave 2 just dropped. You can also get these waves of DLC for free if you have the Nintendo Switch Online pack, the premium pack, because you get the that for free. You also get some other stuff. You also get access to the the Nintendo online library thing, which has retro games for it. There's some games going from SNES, NES, N64 mainly. There are no Cube and Wii games on it though, but you do have access to those. Anyway, so those games play reasonably on the Switch. You could get access to Sega games as well for some reason. Yeah, there's some Sega games on there as well. Yeah, so they work all right, but they say the Nintendo Switch controller isn't that great, and it's quite hard to remap the buttons for it, so I'm not sure that's the best way to play the games. But they maybe put 1 or 2 on each month, and basically it works out at somewhere like £30 something, whereas if you're buying the Mario Kart thing separately, works out at like 20 something. So like I would recommend it for just to get the access to the Mario Kart, and you're paying like a tenner for your yearly subscription thing. Anyway, so the Mario Kart DLC, I said the Wave 1 was okay. Wave 2, I don't think the first cup is very good. The second cup is a lot better though. There's like some new tracks on it, which most of the tracks on Mario Kart are based on old tracks that are going back to, because Mario Kart dates back to the SNES. We'll show you some of the more older games in the series in a minute. Anyway, say I've played nearly all of them, bar the I don't believe I played the GBA one, I believe. Anyway, so the second set of tracks is much better than the first, but some of the tracks are based on things from like the Mario Kart, the arcade game. Oh, I've just got someone messaging me. I'll ignore it now. And say, Mario Kart, based on Mario Kart, the arcade, which is GP Tour, I believe. So the graphics on some of those games don't look as good as some of the ones that were specifically designed for it. But I'd say the second track is fine. There's a nice, the new track is really good. I won't spoil it if people haven't seen it. Anyway, I recommend Mario Kart. It's all really good. And you need to say the other games are well worth playing as well. Anyway, so we move on to the shooters, or shmups as I call them, and need to say I love my shooters. I've got lots of them. I say the shooters on the Switch, as I say there's lots of them coming out. Some are digital only though, so we'll go through the ones I have physically anyway. I said this is Raiden 4. This is Raiden 4 Mikado Remix. It is currently exclusive to the Switch, but they are porting this game. Game is going to be ported to PlayStation and Xbox, so it won't be exclusive for much longer. But you say this is the Switch version. They say it's based on Raiden 4. It's also got some arranged modes, including, I believe there's also an arranged soundtrack and stuff. I think it's better than Raiden 5 anyway. And we say this is coming out on thing. And for those people that have never played a Raiden game, it's known the main weapon in the Raiden games are generally called the toothpaste laser. So it basically, yeah, it's an iconic game and Raiden's thing. As I say, you can also get Raiden 4. You can also get it on the base game, not this Mikado remix. I believe you can get it on PlayStation Plus as well. And I say that's Raiden 4 Mikado remix. And so this is another shooter. So this is Cotton. This is Cotton Reboot. This is basically on the original Cotton game that came out on the Sharp XT600, I think it is, which is basically a Japanese home computer that basically was the original way to play it. And basically this is a remix version on the Switch. So basically this has the original a conversion of the original game, and it also basically has a new Switch version which is massively graphically improved, and it has it's also quite hectic. It can be quite hectic on the screen, and you can struggle to see where the bullets are. But this is Cotton. I mean, say this is an iconic franchise. I mean, say if people haven't played it, it's also similar to something like Death Spars, in which case you're playing as a witch. It's also got a fantasy theme. I've played it I haven't played it a huge amount compared to the things the other shooters that I've played that I don't have the physical versions for. I play stuff like Cyvriar, which is the best version of the game. And I also play, it'll come to me shortly, I can't remember what it is. And we say, then we goes to Monster Hunter Rise. Needless to say, this was a good Monster Hunter game. And we say, I'm a Hammer player personally. The problem I have with this game is in the Switch version. I thought it was going to be unique to the Switch, and then they decided to put out a PC version, which is obviously playing at a higher resolution, which is like at least at 4K. I mean, you just say I don't think this is the best version to play it now, but the thing is, you can play it in handheld mode. But then again, you can play it on the Steam Deck, on the Steam version. You can play it at 4K. Although the Steam Deck probably doesn't do 4K in handheld mode, but it will be at a higher resolution than this. But Monster Hunter Rise, it's a very good game. Whether to say it's the best way to play the game, I don't think so. And needless to say, this is FIFA 19. So this is basically the only Switch game I have found in a charity shop. I paid £5 for it. I don't mind having a FIFA game. It's basically just to play in handheld mode. I haven't played this version. I've played other versions of FIFA. Anyway, I was quite happy to find it in a charity shop. It's the only game, Switch game I've seen in a charity shop. All right, now we're going to we'll move on to the thing. So I'll do the most recent one starting first. So I'll do some handheld stuff. So I'll do the 3DS. So basically, I had the 3DS. I got the 3DS in lockdown. I can't remember if I got the 3DS or the Switch first. So I basically got the 3DS. I got this model here, which is nice. I would describe it as crimson. I think it's crimson red. So this is the XL model, which is the best one to play because the original versions of the 3DS didn't have the analog stick kind of thing, and you had to get a circle pad, I believe was the thing. Anyway, so this one's fine. It might look a bit dusty from this, but like it's in good condition. There's only one minor mark on the body of the console, and I got it with all the games I'm about to show you. As I say, I'd recommend the 3DS. It's good. I'm currently playing Pokemon Ultra Sun on it at the moment when I'm on the move. I mean, say I got most of the games I got with it in this pile I'm about to show you. I paid around 100 and something for it. I mean, you say even the Pokemon games are going for like nearly more than that on the moment on their own. Anyway, I'll show you the thing and show you the games. So this is the first game I got with the machine. It's New Yoshi's Island. I haven't played Yoshi's Island. I've played the original version of Yoshi's Island on the SNES. Hopefully this will be more of the same with the 3D. Anyway, that's Yoshi's Island. We've got Mario Kart 7. So I haven't played this one. I think I played it the day I got the machine. I've been playing the Switch Mario Kart quite a lot at the moment. Anyway, so that's Mario Kart 7. And we've got Pokemon X. I got recently within the last month, I got 6 Pokemon games in the charity shop stuff, and this was one of the ones I got. So I got Pokemon. I think I got Pokemon X, Pokemon Y, Pokemon Hot Soul. No, sorry, Pokemon Heart Gold, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Ranger, and there was one more. I paid the Heart Gold was £5. The other games were all £1.50 each, and I basically traded 2 of them to my friend, and I'm trading that towards one of the Xbox Grails that I'll feature in a later video. Anyway, let me say you can get these games in the charity shops and various stuff if you just wait on them. You have to get lucky though. Anyway, so that's Pokemon X. That's one of the ones in the series. I've got Pokemon Y as well now. So I've got Pokemon X, and that's Pokemon Y. So these games are one of the lower ones in the Pokemon series. I mean, so these ones are going for around 30. I've got a second copy of X that I'm holding on to, and I'll wait for it and sit on it for like 10 years before it goes up. I mean, say they'll all go up eventually. Say, is it one of the better games in the franchise? Not particularly, but like they're all worth something. There's Pokemon Y. Then we've got Omega Ruby. So this is basically the sequel. It's the remake of Pokemon Ruby on the 3DS. I mean, it's just to say that I've got the original game. I would say that I haven't played this one. I'll get around to playing them at some point. I'm working my way through them. I'm trying to finish the Ultra Sun at the moment. I'll try and get through the other one before the new one, before Scarlet and Violet start. I mean, it's Pokemon Omega Ruby. Then we've got Pokemon Sun, the original version. So this is the original version of Pokemon Sun. I haven't played this one. I bought Ultra Sun instead. And so that's the only game I bought separately. So this is the improved version, which is Ultra Sun. I'm playing that one at the moment. I'm working for it at the moment. I would say in Pokemon games, I always play as the grass Pokemon, the grass starter. I can't resist them. I say in Magic, well, I also play. I'm a green player, so that's the equivalent of the grass starter, I would believe. Anyway, so this is the Ultra Sun. I'm quite enjoying this one. It's basically seems like with like a kind of like a what I would describe as a Hawaiian theme, when it's got like islands in it. And you just say the gym battles aren't quite the same in this because it's not as gym focused as some of the other games. They're more like what are called trials. Anyway, I'm quite enjoying this game. I think it's one of the better ones. All right, so we've done the 3DS. Let's start with what should we do next? In theory, I should do the Wii games. Okay, we'll start. We'll do the Wii. We'll do the Wii next. And we say that this is the pile of Wii games. Also, my dog is having a nap next to the fan. She's all right. She went to the vet today, so she's just taking it easy next to the thing. Anyway, so we'll start with the Wii games. We'll start with the big box ones. So okay, so we'll go with the big box ones. So we've got Monster Hunter Tri. So this is the it's not the original version of Monster Hunter I started on. I started on the PSP version, which is Monster Hunter 3, I believe. Anyway, this is Monster Hunter Tri. I got the big box edition, which came with the classic controller in the pack. So this classic controller is really useful on the Wii. It's good for playing games where you don't want to play with motion controls, but basically stuff like the fighting games and various other games. Anyway, the controller's all in the box. It's complete. The box is not in great condition. It's got some wear and tear, but like it's okay. The classic controller works fine anyway. Right, so we'll go through the other big box ones. So we've got Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I've had this in my video before, so that's the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. There is now the Switch edition of this, but it's not like this edition. This edition still has value. This is still the limited edition. It comes with a music CD, and it also comes with a Wiimote inside, which is with the Zelda decals. And when you say the Zelda things, some of them like the Zelda limited editions. Zelda is a very well regarded franchise, and its fan base love collecting things. And you just say I've got my Game Boy SP is the gold limited edition one that with Zelda with it, and they say that's worth quite a bit. I mean, say my window is blowing open. It's just a gust coming through. Anyway, we'll carry on. I mean, to say this is Wiimote is also worth bearing in mind. It's one of the more recent ones, so it's Motion Plus effectively. So it's like having a Motion Plus thing in the box. I mean, you say there's so that on the floor is Wii Fit. That was one of my said that all the games we're about to show are basically ones I got from my recent car boot purchases. So far this year I'm doing quite well on Wii games. I've got about, I think it's around 20 I've picked up, which are generally from the car boot or charity shops. So I basically got Wii Fit, which is this. I had this loose. I basically didn't have the balance board, but then I found the balance board at the car boot. I think they wanted a tenner for it. I offered them a fiver for it, and I think we settled to around £6, and it's fine. Unfortunately, it looked like it had a copy of Wii Sports in it as well. This came in it. It's just the case, unfortunately. So this comes with a cardboard case. You'll see my proper copy later. That is in a retail case with a hard case. Anyway, unfortunately, it didn't have the copy of Wii Sports in it, but it was worth more than I thought. Anyway, combined with the loose, my game that I added into it is probably around 30 quid. Anyway, so all these other games I picked up at the car boot, I think they're going to be, probably still have the price tags on them, and we'll see what we get. So I got, these were mainly in the same purchase. I think I paid around 12 quid for all these. Anyway, this is Super Mario Galaxy 2. You see I've got the original Galaxy later. I mean, to say this is a classic. Obviously, I haven't played this one. I've played the original Galaxy. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's one of the best of the Mario games. Well, the 3D Mario games anyway. So that's Mario Galaxy 2, and I'm looking forward to playing it. I mean, to say that's Mario Power Tennis. So this is a re-release of the GameCube Mario Tennis. I mean, to say I like my tennis games anyway. So to say I haven't played this version. I haven't played the GameCube original, but I'm sure this is not as expensive as the GameCube. But unfortunately, have the unfortunate added motion controls that I'm going to say most of them around this period were unfortunately added to most games, when then later they didn't put them in as much. I mean, to say Mario Power Tennis, I'm quite looking forward to. There's also so that's Mario Power Tennis. Mario Party 8. I haven't played this one. I've played some of the early ones in the franchise. I've played them starting from the N64 ones anyway. I mean, said the N64 ones are quite expensive. This is Mario Party 8. And it's a Rabbids games. I mean, he said this is Rabbids Go Home. I think I've got most of the Rabbids games this year. I mean, say it's by Ubisoft, and there's also Mario versus Rabbids coming out. It's Ubisoft aren't very popular with the gaming people at the moment. They're seeming to remove quite a lot of content for their games, and then not only are they removing some of the DLC from their games, and they're also removing access to the online features, and they're trying to mean you can't actually play some of their games. So you need to say Ubisoft aren't one of my favourite publishers at the moment. I mean, you say they're probably up there with EA. And then we've got My Sims Kingdom. So this is like, this is a cross between, it's basically like Animal Crossing, which is it's more like a fantasy version of Animal Crossing. I mean, you say one of my friends, I showed him my pickups, and he was like, oh, My Sims, really? But it's like Animal Crossing. It's like a worse version of Animal Crossing. And if you already have Animal Crossing, I still feel it's probably quite reasonable. That's My Sims Kingdom. Then we've got The Blob. I haven't really played this one. I feel there's 2 games in the series. It's like a kind of action-y, platformy kind of game. I'm going to say that's The Blob. Then we've got Big Brain Academy. So this is basically like brain training effectively on the Wii. I mean, so I've played the DS ones. I haven't played this ones. I would say they're not very expensive. I think they're probably like £1. And then we've got Boom Block. So this is a... Not really sure. It looks like an kind of action puzzle kind of game. It's got Steven Spielberg on it. It was like he's normally a film director, and it's like what Steven Spielberg has to do with Boom Block. I've no idea, but like it looks like a fun game. I'll try it at some point. And then got darts games. Oh, the camera. I just need to pick this up. Yeah, it's all right. I got it. I mean, you say darts games, and it's like, this is, I wonder if this will be alright on the Switch. I don't think I have any other dart games. There aren't very many of them. This is PDC World Darts. I mean, you say, it might be quite fun. I can imagine it being quite fun with the motion control. So anyway, this is PDC World Championship Darts. And we go on to the next one in sequence. We've got Rayman Rabbids 2. So this is the sequel to Rayman Rabbids. I haven't played it. So by the look of it, no, it's not that one. Anyway, so that's Rayman Rabbids 2. Then we've got Donkey Kong Country Returns. It's got I paid £2 for this in the charity shop. Unfortunately, it's got like a pen thing on the front. But this is Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this one. It should be quite good. I haven't played a Donkey Kong game for ages. My original Donkey Kong game I played was probably Donkey Kong Country on the SNES. Yeah, this is Rayman Rabbids TV Party. So this looks more like a Mario Party kind of style of game with like 50 mini games. So it's like a multiplayer kind of thing. It looks a bit like a Mario Party. Although I've also found it's compatible with the Wii Balance Board, which means I get more use out of my Wii Balance Board, which is thing. There are quite a few games compatible with it. I'll try and point out the other ones that are compatible with it in a minute. We've got Mario Strikers Charge Football. So the recent one just came out on the Switch. I don't know if that's as regarded as this one, but this is the original Mario Strikers anyway. I mean, to say I'm not the biggest football fan, but like I do enjoy sports on the consoles, and then I'll give this one a chance. Anyway, it's got Mario in it. It can't be that bad. And we've got, moving on with Mario sports games, we've got Mario Sports Mix. So this is a cross between... So there are many sports on this. There's basketball, dodgeball, volleyball, and hockey. And as to say, that could be quite fun in multiplayer, I feel. It's not going to be like anything, but like there's so many sports on it. Are they going to be as good as the single sport-focused games? I don't think so. Anyway, that's Mario Sports Mix. I mean, you said we move on to Sonic games now. So there were quite a few Sonic games on the Wii. We'll see some other ones in a minute. So this is Sonic and the Black Knight. I mean, just say that Sonic, it looks more like a fantasy theme with the thing. I don't know if that's one of the more regarded games in the series, but it's not one I've played. I'll play it at some point. Anyway, it was £1. And we go Sonic Colors. So this is Sonic Colors. Also came from the same time I got Sonic and the Black Knight. Cost me £1 as well. I believe this is one of the more regarded games in the franchise, so I'm going to give this one a chance. And as I say, some of the Sonic games can be terrible. I've said before in my previous videos which ones I think are good. I mean, as I say, the last of the ones I got this year, my dog's sitting in the corner. Now she might get up at some point. She's had a hard day. She went to the vet. I mean, as I say, this is Super Mario Bros. Wii. This is the original version of it. There's also the more recent version, which you can get on the Switch with which is the Super Luigi Brothers as well. Which is like there's also Luigi available separately. I think it came in a green box for the Wii. Anyway, so those are all the Wii games I got this year. I will show you my original Wii games. I'm going to have to pick up a pile now, so hold on. This pile will take a while to get. Right, so we're on to the next part. These are basically all my Wii games that basically weren't with me, which I didn't acquire this year. Alright, let's start. So this is WarioWare Smooth Moves. I mean, you just say this is a fun game. I mean, see, most of the Wario games are quite fun. I mean, you just say mostly, I think the Switch, sorry, not Switch, I'm getting confused. Most of the Wii games that shoveled in the motion controls are bad, but this is one of the best ways on the console to games to use the motion controls, and I think it's a fun game. I could imagine them doing a version of this in VR, and that would be quite good, but Nintendo haven't really embraced VR, other than maybe the Virtual Boy, but like... I mean, that's WarioWare Smooth Moves, and all the games are worth playing. And as I say, this is one of the more adult games on the Switch. So this is No More Heroes. This is Travis Touchdown, and you can say there's I think there are 3 games in the sequence. Now this is one of the more adult games on the Wii. Some of the language is at the coarse end of the spectrum, and you can say I don't feel it feels very Nintendo-y, though it's quite a good action game, and I would recommend No More Heroes if you're looking for something a bit more actiony. And you say we're going to go on to James Bond games now. So my first James Bond game I remember playing was GoldenEye on the N64, and you will be seeing that later. And when you just say this is the Wii one, so this is GoldenEye 007. So we're going to. I'll need us to say this is compatible with the Wii Zapper. So don't say I've excluded what I feel are the main gun games from this video, because I'm separating them. So I'm going to do a separate video on light gun games later. I know I keep saying I'm going to do it, but let's just say I feel I need to play the games a bit more before I make any judgments on the video. Anyway, I will do a light gun games video because I'm working my way through the things. Anyway, this is compatible with the Wii Zapper. Is it going to be as good as the original GoldenEye on the N64? I'm not sure. I feel it's okay. I don't know. I haven't played it. I probably paid around £1 for it again. Anyway, it's GoldenEye 007. And we need to say we've got a Conduit. This is compatible with the Wii Speak accessory, which I believe was used for communicating with people. I feel it might be online only. Anyway, this is in a cardboard style case, which only not many Wii games came with. It is in a thinner style cardboard case. Anyway, it's also by Sega as well. It's a Sega game. Anyway, so I haven't played this one, so it's it's probably just like an FPS. It's probably not much difference other than it's compatible with an accessory, and it's by Sega. And the special edition has some. I think it has some. It's got like an art book in the box, I believe. I mean, you say one of the games I remember getting on launch was Red Steel. So this is basically like a normal first-person shooter, other than you're armed with a gun and you're also armed with a katana sword. So I remember getting this on launch. Again, this is by Ubisoft again. When you say so Red Steel, I remember playing this on launch. This was one of the games I got on launch along with, I think it was Monkey Ball and something else. Anyway, it's Red Steel, so this is like, so there's a sequel to this, which apparently is better. I haven't got round to getting it. I mean, it's fairly cheap. So you basically have, in addition to the gun, you also have a katana, and you can use when you go into close range. But this was before Motion Plus was taking up, so it doesn't control the best. Anyway, there's a sequel which may get rid of that. Anyway, it's Red Steel, and it's fairly cheap now. Then we go Punch Out. So this is Punch Out on the Wii. So this is also, I've been playing Punch Out for quite a while. There's dating back. Well, Punch Out goes back to the NES, but I started on Super Punch Out on the SNES. Anyway, the Punch Out games are for what are like arcade boxing kind of thing, but they're from a first person viewpoint. You see from behind the character, and they basically play more like a kind of a puzzle game, because you basically have to work out how to take out the things which are effectively, they're more like boss characters, so it's kind of like a boss rush. Anyway, all the Punch Out games are worth playing, and it's Punch Out. Then we have Guilty Gear, Ancient Core. So this is by Guilty, by the same Arc System Works, and they do other various fighters like BlazBlue. And we need to say this is the game on the Wii. There's also more versions of this, more recent versions of this that came out more recently. And we need to say if you're playing beat 'em ups on the Wii, I'd recommend the Pro controller again. Right, now we get on to the first-person Nintendo one. So this is Smash Brothers Brawl. Again, this one came in a cardboard kind of sleeve. It's Smash Brothers on the Wii, iconic again. Then we got Metroid Prime 3 Corruptions. So this is Metroid 3 in effect. So this was on the Wii. So it plays like the early games in the series dating on from the Cube. Other than it's got some like motion controls in it, but it plays all right. I mean, you can also pick up. There's the double pack of the first 2 games in the series, which is more expensive than this one, and they basically are like the original two games in this in the Metro in the Metroid series, well, the 3D Metroids anyway, and they basically have the motion controls added in. And then we've got a spin-off in the Metroid. So this is another mission. So it wasn't by the same studio that did the other Metroid. I mean, to say, I'm not sure people like this game that much. I didn't think it was that bad personally, but it's not particularly like the other Metroid game. It's got Samus and the thing, but it plays quite a bit differently. I mean, to say, see what you think. I feel it's worth playing. That's Metroid, another mission. Then we go Twilight Princess. So this is Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on the Wii. I mean, to say that was the first Zelda game that came out on the Wii. This is also available on the GameCube as well, and it's also available on the Switch as well now. I mean, to say this version is the GameCube version is more expensive. This version, I feel, might play worse than that version because the motion controls. I would prefer it didn't have the motion controls. But, like, it's a good Zelda game. As I say, most of the Zelda games are. They're not really many bad ones. Right, and then we've got Dragon's Quest. So this isn't a main Dragon's Quest game. This is Dragon's Quest Swords. So this is a cross between Dragon's Quest and I want to describe it as like it's a bit like Punch-Out in some ways, as it's got like motion controls because you wave the sword around and stuff. So it's not like, but it has the iconic characters from like Dragon's Quest, like the slimes and various things. And you said that's Dragon's Quest Sword, worth playing if you like Dragon's Quest and probably Punch-Out. Then we've got Little King's Story, which is kind of like this game is also available on the PS. I'm going to say it's on the PS Vita as well. So it's a bit like a fantasy themed version of, say, Animal Crossing, or maybe one of the more recent ones like Fantasy Life or something. But I haven't played Fantasy Life. It's also marketed by Rising Star. It came out in the UK. Anyway, it's Little King's Story. So it's like a fantasy. It's kind of like a fantasy Animal Crossing kind of thing. Then we go Animal Crossing itself. And then we go, this is Animal Crossing, Let's Go to the City. And we're going to say, confession time, people. I've never played an Animal Crossing game. I own them. I've never got around to playing them. So I'll play this one at some point. I've heard of like Tom Nook and everything. And so obviously he's a fairly iconic character. Anyway, this is Animal Crossing on the Wii. Then we go Harvest Moon. So Harvest Moon is like the original, one of the original like farming game. I mean, as I say, they've been going for a long time now. I even think I remember the first one I played was, I don't think I played the one on the SNES. I don't think that came out in Europe. As I say, I played the Game Boy one. I think it was the Game Boy Color. Anyway, this is Magical Melody, the Wii Harvest Moon. Then we've got some more slightly original games. We've got Blastworks. This is Build, Trade and Destroy. So there's not many shooters on the Wii, or well, at least that were released in Europe. I do believe in other regions there were other ones released. Anyway, the unique thing about this is it's like a shoot 'em up construction kit, because you can basically use it to make your own games and design various ships, levels, etc. Anyway, it's quite fun. I haven't majorly got into it, but it's a different one. Anyway, that's Blastworks, Build, Trade and Destroy. And then we've got one of the best thing. This is Geometry Wars Galaxy. So this isn't a traditional shmup. This is more like a twin-stick shooter. This has been released on many things. I also believe there's also the version for the DS, which you can link to this one to get more levels, I believe, if you link them in some way. I can't remember how you link them. I don't know if you remember if you need a cable or not. But the Geometry Wars Galaxies is an iconic series of twin-stick shooters. It's great. The action, the patterns of light and stuff they make on the screen is quite iconic. Anyway, so this Geometry Wars Galaxies is one of the best twin-stick shooters. And then when we go on to more things, so this is Sin and Punishment. So this is Sin and Punishment, Successor of the Skies. This is the sequel to Sin and Punishment that came out on the N64. You can also get Sin and Punishment on the N64. You can now play it on if you have the Switch Online Expansion Pass. Anyway, so this is it's an action shooter kind of thing. It's not a traditional shooter. It's like, it's an on-rail shooter. On-rail is the best way to describe it. You play as one of two characters. I believe it's Kachi Iska or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, it's by Treasure. It's an iconic thing. You can use, there's varying control schemes. You can use a classic controller. You could also, worth bearing in mind, the Wii can play GameCube games as well, and you can use the GameCube controller on it as well, and it's got nearly full back compatibility. I mean, I think I've rarely had a game that doesn't work. Anyway, see, and you can play this with the Joy-Con, or not Joy-Con, I mean the classic controller, or the Zapper as well, and it's a good way to play it. Anyway, I'd recommend Sin and Punishment. It's on the difficult side, but like, it's good fun. Then we've got Mario Galaxy. So that's one of the 3D Mario games. That's the original Galaxy. I've played this one. I'm not sure it's as good as Mario 64, but like, I do like both. So that's Mario Galaxy. I'm looking forward to the second one at some point. And I'll try to speed up. I'm only on Wii. I've got all the other consoles to go through, and we're at 45 minutes. So this is Nights into Dreams. So this is the version of Nights, which originally was a game released on the Saturn. This is a successor to that game. I would say I've played this one. I feel I haven't really played the original version on the Saturn that much, as I don't have the classic controller from it, and that isn't designed really to play with the traditional Saturn pad, so I don't have a fair comparison. But these ones are fairly cheap. I think the other one's way more expensive. And we've got more Sonic games. We've got Sonic and the Secret Rings. I showed you all the other Sonic games earlier, so this is Sonic and the Secret Rings. I'm not really sure about what anything much about it. Anyway, that's Sonic and the Secret Rings. I'll play it at some point. And we go on to the Trauma Center games. So these are fun. So I think Trauma Center originally came out on the DS. I don't think I've played that version. Alright, so this is Trauma Center. So they basically play like an operation style game. It's like kind of a medical game, but like there's an RPG in it and a storyline. So you're basically trying to do various operations in real time, and you're basically trying to do, so the motion controls in this game are quite fun. They're basically quite fun because you're trying to do operations, and it's quite it can be quite hard on the whole settings. It's also by Atlus, people. If you have seen my other videos, I'm always going to say Atlus games are well worth getting, people. They're very, very, very collectible. I mean, to say they published a lot of RPGs. This isn't really an RPG. It's more like it's got a storyline. The storyline isn't bad as well. There were 3 games made in the series. The third one wasn't released in Europe, though, and I'm about to show you the other ones. Anyway, all the games by Atlus are worth getting, people. They're not made in huge quantities, and if you see them, pick them up when they're cheap. They're well worth getting. And we see, I recommend that. I recommend Trauma Center. And we move on to the second game in the series. So this is Trauma Center New Blood. So that's the second game in the main series. There was also the games released on the handheld. I haven't played the handheld ones. I think I'll try and play them at some point. And it's Trauma Center New Blood. And we need to say this is got. I believe this one's playable in co-op. I don't believe the original one was playable in co-op. I would love to play it in co-op. I'd probably replay the game if it was in co-op. It's really good. I mean, I recommend Trauma Center. Right. Oh, no, we're on to the other ones. Oh, this is another confession. So this is Wii Sports. This came with most original Wiis that came out in Europe. And you say this is the not to be sold separately pole. So be careful, you can't knock that over. Oh, she's... Good girl. No, she's all right. She's trying to knock it over. You say, I got Wii Sports came with my Wii. It was the packing game. I've never played it. Is it worth playing? Let me know in the comments section. I haven't played Wii Sports. I mean, it's like... Then I've got Wii Play, which was also another one. So this also came out. This is also not to be sold separately version. So originally you can find a lot of Wiimotes that came bundled with this. It's another selection of mini games. It's designed to be basically use show off your Wiimote. Anyway, so that, and also your Miis. Right, we're nearly done on the Wii. We're getting there. And this is Wii Music. It's also got a cardboard outer sleeve. I got this one. This was from the car boot. I paid £1 for it. I did open it. It was sealed. Anyway, I'm happy to have the game. I haven't used it. I do like my music. I'm not sure if this will play very well or not. I prefer more like the music production kind of music kind of things, or the like things like Res. So my dog's trying to move around. Anyway, then we've got Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics, and this is compatible with the balance board. So every time they do an Olympics, there's a Mario and Sonic game. It's generally, they also do a more mainstream kind of sports kind of game for it as well. And so this is Vancouver, so this was the Winter Olympics, so this was 2010. Then we've got slightly more obscure. So this is Zack and Wiki Quest for Bob Ross Treasure. So this is made by Capcom. So that means Capcom game, it's above average difficulty. So this is like, this one's quite fun as well, but it's also involves motion controls. So you basically, it plays, it's kind of like an action puzzle game. So there are loads of bosses and scenarios that you have to go through. I don't really have to describe it very well, but like it's like an action puzzle game. It's in real time. They're like time things, and it plays reasonably well. It's quite, it depends if you're into your motion controls. I recommend it though. It's quite good. It's fairly cheap as well now. Then we've got a more adult one. So we've got Mad World. So this is another one of the more adult kind of end of the spectrum. This plays like, it's really stylish. It's like kind of like it's like a shooter, but there you can use melee combat as well. It's got this really different art style. It's got kind of like black and white. It reminds me of whatever the film was that looked like a black and white film. I can't remember what it is currently. Anyway, so that's Mad World. I'd recommend that as well. And it's exclusive to the Wii. And we've got Mario Kart. So Mario Kart Wii. So this is the one. So I've got the edition. I've got the Wii wheel somewhere. I don't play with the Wii wheel, to be honest. I'm not a fan of that kind of style of controller. I play it traditionally, thankfully. And it said this one has also got... Was this the first one in the series with bikes? I believe it was the first one in the series with bikes. There you go. So that's Mario Kart on the Wii. Then we've got slightly more obscure... So this is another one by Rising Stars. This is Muramasa the Demon Blade. This is by Vanillaware. This also came out on the PS Vita, I believe, and the PS Vita version may be the better of those editions, as I believe it had more DLC and you can still get it at the moment. I mean, so this is Muramasa, and for those people that haven't played one of these games, they're like kind of like action games, but they've got RPG overtones as well, so in which case you can level up your character and do various things. There's various other games like this. This, if you have a Wii, is one of the good ones to play. Also, I recommend other games such as Dragon's Crown, which is also available. It's generally available on the Sony platform. That one's a PS... I think it's PS3, PS4 kind of era, so they're available on those. Anyway, so that's Muramasa the Demon Blade. And then my last Wii game that I think I got on launch... So this is Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. So this is basically a continuation of the Monkey Balls series. So this adds the motion controls into it, and I think it's more harder than what some of the other games in the series, because they're trying to make use of the motion controls. If they didn't have motion controls, I believe it would think this one's okay. I believe there's also like Step and Roll, which uses the balance board. But say if you want a more traditional Monkey Ball, you could get Monkey Ball Deluxe or whatever the more recent 4K version of that game is called now. Anyway, so those are all my Wii games anyway. Right, I'm just going to move some of these stuff out of the way, and then we'll go on to the next in the sequence. We'll do GameCube next. Okay. So we'll start doing the GameCube next. So GameCube. I got my GameCube on launch. I got... I'll see what games I got with it on launch. But it said GameCube, people, is one of the most expensive Nintendo consoles to collect for. I just don't feel the games were released in like bigger quantities, and it seems to be out of sixth generation hardware. I believe that it's the most expensive one. I've got 30 games for it, and they're nearly as much as some of my my entire say my Xbox 360 collection. I've got about 30 games for it, people. Anyway, so we'll go through them and see what we think. And they say there's some goodies in here. So we'll start out with the we'll start out with the I'll start out with so these are all going to be. I say most of my games. I'm going to say the GameCube ones are all going to be PAL, other than a couple of exceptions. Okay, so we'll start with the one exception I have, which is. This is Pac-Man Versus and Pac-Man's World 2. So this is Player's Choice. So Player's Choice, this is a US copy, by the way. So for people that don't know, Player's Choice is like the what equivalent of whatever the platinum on the PlayStation or whatever. So it means they had to sell so many copies. So this is Pac-Man Versus and Pac-Man World 2. So in the box. So Pac-Man Versus, for those people that don't know, I haven't technically played it as I don't have the setup for it currently, is a multiplayer version of Pac-Man. It's by Shigeru Miyamoto, people. I mean, say one of my regrets in life is my dad. I was at college at the time, so I was took my dad. I gave him, he was doing an appearance. He's one signing in London, which was in I think it was Virgin in London. Took one of my items to get signed by Miyamoto, and by the time Miyamoto there was so much demand that he wasn't there for that long, and the people that were there that got their items signed, and I regret not getting my items signed because I would have had extra value. Anyway, this is both designed by Miyamoto, and it was designed for the GameCube. So basically, it means you need to play this. You need a Game Boy Advance for each player, and a link cable. I'll show you the thing. I got a link cable in a minute as well, and it's basically a Pac-Man Versus game for the GameCube. And as you say, you basically have your own Game Boy Advance as your own little mini screen. And when you say that looks really cool. I mean, you say the GameCube, people, isn't multi-region free. You need to get like an action replay or what's called a freeloader. I don't currently have one, but I'm on the lookout for one. I'll play it at some point. And we say Pac-Man Versus. I don't know about Pac-Man World 2, but it's like Pac-Man Versus looks quite cool. Right, so now we say that we'll do the Player's Choice titles. Oh, they are called Player's Choice titles. The difference is the UK ones look different. So this is Simpsons Hit and Run. This is like Simpsons Hit and Run. So this is basically, I believe it's like, I can't remember. I get this confused with, but I think it's like, is it like Crazy Taxi? I can't remember which one. One of these games is like Crazy Taxi, and one's a bit like GTA. I think this might be more like GTA. There's another one that's like the... Anyway, this version's the more expensive of the things, other than it's in the Player's Choice. But some of the Player's Choice games seem to be more than the regular version, so I've no idea. I mean, it's Simpsons Hit and Run. It's a good Simpsons game. You can also get this on the Xbox and the PlayStation as well, and I feel this version's probably more expensive. I feel the Xbox version is probably the better playing one. And then we say, I'm not a huge fan of Player's Choice games, but if I could, they're the only version of the game I can find it. So this is Metroid Prime. This is the original Metroid. It's one of the best 3D. Well, it's the original 3D Metroid game, and as I say, it plays quite well. No motion controls at this point. This is fine playing. You can, as I say, this is Metroid Prime. I started playing Metroid games. I started at the SNES one, so I'll show you that later. So that's Metroid Prime, and we say Samus Aran. And there's Super Mario Sunshine. So this is the Player's Choice edition of Mario Sunshine. So this is when you say you basically have to clean up like whatchamacallit, because there's like graffiti on it. So in some kind of ways it feels similar to like a reverse Splatoon, because in Splatoon you're trying to do graffiti on various things, and in this you're trying to clear it up. So it feels like a bit like a Splatoon thing. I think they might be inspired later to do Splatoon because of this. Anyway, that's Mario Sunshine, underrated 3D Mario game. Right, so that's a thing, and then we start with I've got one big box game. So we've got... So this is Zelda Four Swords Adventure. These games are really good. I haven't played it in multiplayer. It comes with the link cable in the thing. So basically this is like a Zelda game, other than it's in like, it's still like in, it looks like a SNES Zelda. It's in a similar styling, other than which you can play it you can play it in multiplayer. So basically to play that you needed link cables and Game Boy Advances for each player. So finding the setup for that now these days is quite difficult. I've got multiple cables and Game Boys, but I don't have all the things, and you basically need other bits. Anyways, you say it's a very good Zelda game. I've played it normally and I've finished it normally, but I haven't played it in multiplayer. At some point I aim to play it in multiplayer when I've got the requisite hardware. I mean, it's Zelda Four Swords, really good. I mean, you say we'll go on to the more box games, so we're going RPGs. So this is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. This is expensive. I think could be around 100 and something. So this is one of the first early games in the Paper Mario series. There was also, I think, there was Paper Mario started. I think Paper Mario first came out on the N64. There was Mario RPG on the SNES, which was probably the original one in the series. Anyway, this is Paper Mario. My copy isn't complete. It doesn't have the manual, but I was happy to have it. I got it at Car Boot. It was quite a long time ago. It was probably like 15 years plus ago. I paid like somewhere around £4 for it. I think it's probably like 70, 75 in this kind of edition. I recommend it as a game. I'm not sure it's like some of the plot on this is that good to me. I mean, you say Mario games don't say plot to me. They just say they're more like about their style and what their thing. I'm not sure the plot's amazing. I mean, say if you... But like, why do you play RPGs? Is it for the plot, which it generally is, or the world setting? I feel the world setting and that's quite interesting, but I'm not quite convinced by the plot and stuff in the game. It's still on the good end of the spectrum. Would I pay 100 for it? I'm not sure. There we go. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. I mean, you say this is a good one. People say one of my other loves in thing is like, I like some of the horror things, so I like H.P. Lovecraft, kind of, who was a classic writer who wrote in the 20s, and you just say he's American in origin. So this is basically one of the games that I would say that is inspired by him, but not directly name checking him. So this is Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. It's basically it's kind of like a horror game. And when you just say it's basically set in various different time periods. There's a PS2 game it also reminds me of, which is set over various time periods. So in this, you play various different characters based on what time period it is, and then the crossover between the two. I'm not going to spoil it for those that don't know, but it's a classic game, and it's well worth playing. I mean, you said there's not as much combat as in this as in some of the other ones. The aim is to mainly run away. It's more about kind of like jump scares kind of thing, which we think. Anyway, so this is Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, a really good horror game. H.P. Lovecraft would be loving it. I mean, to say these were one of the Star Wars games. So these are some of the better Star Wars games that have been released. Oh, we've gone over the hour. I still feel I'm going to be here for another 30 plus minutes. Anyway, we'll see what we got. So this is Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Rogue 2. So this is basically, if you told me when I saw the original Star Wars films that eventually I'd be playing like what I imagine will be the battles. So one of my favorite, my favorite Star Wars film is the second one, Empire Strikes Back. So my favourite scene from that is the Battle of Hoth, probably with the AT-AT walkers, which is iconic. And then you've got various things like the Death Star trench run. This game even has actual film from the films in showing. I mean, you said the original Rogue Squadron game was on the N64, which was in a minute, but this was more refined. And basically, I feel you can play. I can't remember. I know. I'll show you the other one in a minute. I mean, so this is a more refined version of that game, and it still plays fairly well now. And it's not like the other Star Wars games. And you say that one of my favourite Star Wars games, that's Rogue Leader, Star Wars. I mean, you say this is Rogue Squadron 3, which is the sequel. So this is the sequel to Rogue Squadron. So this is Rogue Leader. I also believe you can now play two-player co-op, so you can play all the missions. I believe it's all the missions from the first game now in co-op. So if you want to play it with a second player, you want to get this one. It's well worth playing all the games in the series. I do believe there was some weird like on foot sections though in this one, and I don't feel those are the best bits in the game because they don't play nearly as well. Anyway, you can ignore, well, you can't really ignore the sections, but they're not very many of them. Anyway, it's Rogue Squadron 3. There you go, Bomberman Generation. So that's basically Bomberman so that's a Bomberman clone, or one of the main series of Bomberman games on the thing. I don't remember if this one's got a 3D. No, it doesn't look. It's very 3D. It just looks like more like it's still like the original top-down perspective. Because I know they did one on an N64 when it was more like a 3D one. Anyway, that's Bomberman Generation. And we got Donkey Konga. So I like my music games. So this is Donkey Konga. So I've got the edition with the bongos. I paid £1 for this, and probably paid £1 for the next one in the same shop. And then I eventually had to find the bongo controllers. So this is basically like a drumming game. So you basically have to tap the bongos on time to various music and time. It also, there's other drumming games. There's some other ones, but they got with more like a hand. These more like hand drums as opposed to the other one, which are more like the actual full drum kits. And when you say there's also Takenouchi Nichitsujin, the or Drum Master, I believe it's well known as in the West, which is also available on the Xbox and the Xbox Game Pass. And that's Donkey Konga, a fun drumming game. I mean, with the bongo controllers. I mean, you say Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. So this is so we said Donkey Konga. Also, I believe there were 3 games in the series. I believe the third one was Japan only. I mean, so this is Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. As it says, it's best with the bongos. I wouldn't recommend it without the bongos. So this is more like a traditional Donkey Kong game, which is like a platforming game, but you basically how it controls, you use the bongos as the controller, so you basically you tap it up to go up and down and left and right and various things in time with various things. And I say that's one of the more unusual games. And say the more unusual games are definitely worth playing. We say there's some of my favorite games are ones that are more unusual. That's half the battle. Making them good is the other half. As I said, we're getting on to the things. So this is one of my more expensive games. This is Ikaruga. So this is a shmup, one of my favourite games. So this game, it has basically what's a polarity mechanic. So basically, you change between black and white and you can be immune to all the bullets in the matching colour. And you say this is the more expensive version of this game. This is the original one, which is the thing version. This version is about 75. You can also get it digitally, I believe, on the I think you can get it on the Xbox, and I believe you also might be able to get a Switch version. I don't know if might even have a limited run, a physical version of the Switch game. Anyway, it's also by Treasure, and it's the spiritual successor to Radiant Silvergun, which is also very expensive. Well, physical anyway. Then we go Prince of Persia games. So I believe these lot I got in the charity shop. It was a long time ago. I got like a whole stack of them, and they were all in from one charity shop. So this Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I don't remember playing this one. There's this Prince of Persia, this remake trilogy. Effectively, there were 3 games. I believe this is the. I can't remember if this is the first one. I believe there's a more recent remaster of this as well, or is going to be a more recent remaster. Anyway, that's Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. And the other one in the thing, Warrior Within, another Prince of Persia game. It's in the similar 3D kind of perspective now, as opposed to the original Prince of Persia games where they're in a 2D kind of vein. That's Prince of Persia: Warrior Within. More more James Bond games. There were quite a few James Bond games. And I say I'm not a huge fan of James Bond. I'm going to say I was forced to see GoldenEye. Anyway. This is 007, Everything or Nothing. I quite enjoyed the James Bond games, coincidentally. Was to say GoldenEye is probably the best one. As I say, that's 007, Everything or Nothing. And we've got GoldenEye Rogue Agent. I've played the GoldenEye, the original GoldenEye. I haven't played this one, so I imagine it might be... Well, it's going to be slightly similar, but, like, I don't know that much. I haven't played that one. Anyway, it's GoldenEye 007. I'm going to say Resident Evil. So this is the remake of Resident Evil. They basically redid most of the Resident Evil games from this point. So this is the remake of the original game. So this is the one on the GameCube. So this was, they say it's one of the GameCube games that's on. It's on 2 discs. When you say my problem with Resident Evil back in the day was the tank controls. On the PlayStation 1, they made you control really badly. I mean, just to say, they remade the games. I mean, they're doing remakes of the current ones now. What are they up to? I'm going to say the 3rd one, or they'll be remaking the 3rd. No, they might even be redoing the 4th game now. And we say this is Resident Evil, the remake of the first game on the GameCube. And we say this one's pretty good, plays really good. They also remade some of the other ones as well on the GameCube. I mean, say I'd recommend that Resident Evil anyway. I don't think it's as good as Resident Evil 4, but it might be the next best one. Then we've got Wave Race. So this is a fun arcade jet ski kind of game. And when you say Wave Race originally came out on the N64, I'm going to say this is the GameCube version, and it's to say I'm not sure if I think this one is better or not, but I mean, to say even if the PAL version has been optimized as well, because the N64 one, the NTSC one, was better than the PAL version and played at better speed. But this is the Wave Race on the Cube, well worth playing. I mean, say this is Wind Waker, the original version of Wind Waker. This at the time was the controversial one because it was cell shaded rather than being in the more traditional Zelda vein, more thing, and a lot of people didn't like the art style. Whereas now it's more, I think it's more highly regarded. This one also came out with a 2-game bonus disc, so you got you got Ocarina of Time, and you got Ocarina of Time Master Quest, which is like it's like a harder version of Ocarina of Time with some other additional stuff. I think you also, if you pre-registered for this one, you got a bonus disc, which I think you got the original. I believe you got the original 2 NES games on the disc, which were available on Keep. I didn't pre-register for it, unfortunately, but like you can get that disc separately. That's Wind Waker, well worth playing. You can also get the more recent version on this Switch. And I think this is my... no, I've got more. I think I've got 30 GameCube games, which is quite good going at some people's rate. Anyway, this is Smash Brothers Melee. So this is Smash Brothers on the GameCube. Not a lot to say about it. It's Smash Brothers on the GameCube. Alright, let's get on to the bombs. Right, I'm going to say some of it's Pokemon game now. So this is Pokemon Colosseum, which is basically a Pokemon game. I mean, you got a memory card with this one. Yep, you got a memory card in there, which was essential for it because I think the file size in it was quite large. You could also transfer your games between your Pokemon between various things and use them on the main screen. Yeah, it was linked with. You can link with. It was the original version of Ruby and Sapphire. You could link it up with, and it was one of the first Pokemon games because this kind of game came out on the N64 originally as Pokemon Stadium. Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 were basically just ways to play the multiplayer battles from Pokemon on the large screen as opposed to playing it on the handheld. Whereas this one was one of the first games to feature a single player story. I think it has the legendary dogs and some other ones on it, like it does on the cover. Right, so that's Pokemon Colosseum. Then we've got Star Fox Adventures. So this is basically a Star Fox RPG. So this is kind of like what you imagine if you cross between Star Fox and Zelda. So it's like a... Yes, it's a cross between, say, Star Fox and Zelda. So originally this was going to be called Dinosaur Planet, I believe it was. And then basically Nintendo bought in the thing because they were working with Rare that published the game. And then they decided that they wanted a Star Fox game. And so then they basically put in the Star Fox characters later. So I believe you can also maybe be able to find a prototype version that has just the dinosaur characters and no Star Fox. But it plays really well. I mean, I rebought it. I bought it originally when it came out. And then I sold it. And I bought it back. I paid... I think I got this copy within a year or so. I paid like £5 for it. I feel that's good. I've played it all the way through at least once. I don't plan on replaying this one anytime soon, though. Anyway, it's worth playing, though, if you like either Zelda or Star Fox. And I mean, there are not many Star Fox games, for sure. Right. Then Mario Kart Double Dash. So this is Mario Kart on Double Dash, which is the one in the series. They tried to do something slightly different with it. So in ways which I've played most of the games a reasonable amount. I mean, you say this one, you basically have teams of 2 in the kart. So you have a front driver and a back driver and a back person. I can't quite remember what the difference is between the two, but like it doesn't really play like any of the other ones. I mean, like the Mario Kart games recently, they have the courses, they can date all the way back to this, and you say there's lots of courses for them to go through, and say once they release all the DLC wave for the current one, they might have all the courses or lots of them. Anyway, they've got lots of history, and you say Mario Kart is very good. And we say another more adult one. So this is Killer 7. This is by Capcom. So this is a It's a more stylish one, so it displays in as kind of, it's like an action game. It's cell shaded. It's also on 2 discs, and it's a more action based game. It's, as I say, it's by Shinji Mikami that did. I believe he did Resident Evil as well. I mean, it's an action game, and it's more on the adult side if you're looking for something like that on the Cube. I mean, so last game is Luigi's Mansion. So I mean, this was one of the games I got on launch. It was a demonstration. It's a good way to demonstrate your system back in the time. And there's only 3 games in the series. There's this one. There's the one on the I believe it's on the 3DS, which I haven't played, and there's the most recent one on the Switch. So there's only 3 games in the series. So the Luigi's Mansion, for those people who don't know, is a bit like an action game. Basically, you have a vacuum cleaner, which you basically... Oh, imagine Ghostbusters. Imagine Ghostbusters crossed with the Mario universe, in which you have something called the Poltergeist 3000, which is like a vacuum cleaner that sucks up ghosts. If you hear the snoring in the background, it's my dog. She's tired. I mean, yes, you suck up ghosts, and you basically use what is effectively the C stick on the thing to suck up the ghosts. They put up some resistance, so basically, the main problem with the game back in the day was it's short. I don't think it's very large. I would say it's like 5 hours, 6 hours kind of thing. Oh, coincidentally, I've got a new vacuum for the person that was complaining that I don't clean the room. I've got a new vacuum that's like it's like a vacuum cleaner. So that was my new vacuum cleaner, which I use to clean the room. It's quite good. You can separate the top bit, and you can also use in that more thing. So I mean, that was a fairly cheap vacuum as well. Anyway, so that was Luigi's Mansion. It's well worth playing. I aim to try the other games in the series at some point. Right. I've got my last lot of GameCube. Right. Look, we'll try and go quicker. I mean, I can go on for ages. I mean, it's a Beautiful Joe, so that's another Capcom game. It's cell shaded. I've mentioned this in my other videos. I believe there's it's got a Kart Club sticker on the back. I remember that shop when the day. I mean, that was in Aldershot. They also sold Radiant Silvergun there for about 40 quid. I remember seeing adverts for it in CVG back in the day. Anyway, so Beautiful Joe is a cell shaded, sideways scrolling beat 'em up action kind of game. It's really good, and there's another 2. There's 2 main games, and then I think there's some spin-off like Beautiful Joe Red Hot Rumble and stuff. Anyway, that's Beautiful Joe, the first one. As Mario Golf Toadstool 2, so that's the continuation of the Mario Golf series. I believe you could also link this to the Game Boy Advance one to get some stuff. I mean, I can't remember. I don't think I have the Game Boy Advance one. I think I have the Game Boy Color one. We'll see in a minute. Anyway, I like my Mario Golf games, and say they're one of the better games. I would say Mario Golf or Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy, as they call it now, are probably 2 of the better golf games. And we've got Harvest Moon, Wonderful Life. I mean, so this is one of the Harvest Moon games on the GameCube. I started playing at the other game. I mean, they're all calling it. I mean, they're distributed by Ubisoft again. Ugh. This was one of the highlights what I got at the charity shop at the time. So this F-Zero GX. So this cost me a mere £1 in my, and that was a long time ago. That was probably. I mean, it might have only been 5 years ago. Anyway, that's fine. So F-Zero GX is the last game in the F-Zero's franchise, other than maybe the F-Zero on the arcade machine. I mean, you say this was one of the last games in the F-Zero franchise. I'm going to say Nintendo, please remake this game or do another F-Zero game, as many people will buy it. And for those people that don't know what F-Zero game is, they're kind of like what Wipeout would be on the Nintendo platform, with a more it's a kind of futuristic racing game with a kind of emphasis, and there's weapons and stuff in it as well. So that's F-Zero GX. And we say finish with, we've got Mario Party 5. I can't remember all the difference between all the Mario Party games. I do like them. They're good in multiplayer. They're not so good in single player. And we say that's Mario Party 5. I do believe some of the Mario Party games are also available as big boxes with, I think this 6 had like a peripheral and other bits with it. Anyway, so that's all the GameCube games. Right, so what will we do next? So we've done GameCube, we'll do N64. Okay, I'll do N64 next. So N64, I had my N64. Technically, I reserved it. I was meant to get my system on launch, but the company let me down at the time, so it was special reserve. They don't normally exist anymore as a company, but they let me down and I didn't get my machine on launch, so I was very upset. But it's one of my systems I have more affection for because I remember I've had it on launch as well. Anyway, so we'll start with the games. So N64 games I've got are mainly, they're going to be split. So I got two machines. So I've got an English one and I've got what is technically, I think it's a Hong Kong unit. As I got that at the car boot at a later date, I paid a mere, I think it was £30 for my Hong Kong machine, and it basically plays the games full speed, full screen, and we'll see the various games. I'll show you the English ones first, and then we'll go through the other one, the NTSC ones. So I've got one loose game, which is kart only, and it's Mario Kart, which is still in the bag. I believe I lent that to Lewis. I know, Lewis, you might be watching, so that's Mario Kart. It's still in the bag. I had it boxed, but I did sell it. Anyway, that's Mario Kart 64. I got it loose later. Alright, now we go to some of the big box games. So we got Pokemon Stadium. So as I mentioned earlier, this is Pokemon Stadium. This one I've had from new. This one looks like mint. It's barely been touched. Well, I have used it. I've played it through. Anyway, it's got the transfer pack. So this is basically a way to play Pokemon on a big screen. So basically it was just a way to play your Game Boy games and do the battles on a big screen other than play it on the handheld. It didn't have much in the way of a storyline. But it didn't have much of a storyline. It was just a way to play the battles on the main screen, on the main TV. This was also, I believe there was a second one as well, but I don't have that one. And I think they're on the expensive side. I'm not sure how much they are. I would think they're probably around 100 and something on those. Anyway, so we'll carry on with the other ones. I have three more UK European games. So that's Mario Golf. And you say I like having my games box complete. Most of my games are going to be box complete. I mean, you say that's Mario Golf. I remember playing this back when after I did biology, my friends used to come around and play Mario Golf, and we used to do like a round of Mario Golf before we had to go back to school. Anyway, so this is Mario Golf on the N64. I mean, say I like the Mario Golf games, and there's also Mario Golf on the Game Boy that had more of a storyline, a single player as well, and it was like that was a cross between golf and RPG. And I think there's some more of a golf RPG kind of crossover coming out recently. Anyway, that's Mario Golf. Then we go Zelda. And we say that's Zelda Majora's Mask. So that's the the second game in the Zelda thing. They said this one required the RAM pack. I've basically got the RAM pack. I've got a box RAM pack somewhere. It's upstairs. I don't think it's going to make this video. Anyway, it's Zelda Majora's Mask. And we say Zelda game is different to the other ones, as it has more of a time limit, because it's like a Groundhog Day style kind of premises. For those who don't know Groundhog Day, it basically repeats the same cycle, and basically the events and that. Yeah, so the events repeat and play out themselves if you don't change them. So there's basically a time focus. I think it might be 72 hours. Oh, it's like 3 days or something. But like it plays out in real time. Anyway, that's Zelda Majora's Mask. It's well worth playing. Is it better than Ocarina of Time? I don't personally think so. And it requires the RAM pack. So you need to have a RAM pack. I mean, you say now we've got Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. They say this box looks a bit fragile. So for the people who are collecting things, this is say the cardboard boxes are these basically the games with cardboard boxes are generally worth more money because they basically people don't take well care of them. This is the condition mine was in. It's got some damage on it. But you can get box protectors, and now that I haven't quite got into that. I suppose they're a bit like sleeves for magic cards. Anyway, and you say this is Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is probably my second copy because I had a copy. I mean, and it worked away around my friends group. I sold it to someone and they sold it to someone else and so on and so forth. Anyway, this is Zelda Ocarina of Time. Probably my favourite 3D Zelda. Right, now we're going to go on to the NTSC ones. So I basically got these with a machine I paid, I think it was 30 for the machine at a car boot. It was a long time ago, but I got all these games I'm about to show. I think I got like 4 box controllers with it as well. I'm trying to collect all the controllers. Coincidentally, I think N64 controllers aren't that well made. I feel the analog stick grinds away generally, and generally when you look at the stuff in the connector where the pad is, you can normally get like the powder that where the stick grinds away. So I've got loads of them just in case they break. I've got like a blue one, a green one, a red one, grey one, and there's loads of colours available, so try and collect them. Anyway, so I've got various games, so we'll go through them. Anyway, this is Turok Rage Wars, so this is not the main Turok game. So this is basically a FPS adaptation of, let's say, Turok. Turok was like a more mainstream game with like GoldenEye kind of thing, but this is more like a multiplayer kind of thing. But there's got bots and that, and if you don't want to play it in that, anyway, that's one of the other Turok games. I mean, say that's one of them. I mean, say we've got Perfect Dark. That's the NTSC version of Perfect Dark. Because say it's the thing. They say they also did a second Perfect Dark game on the Xbox far more recently. I mean, this is the NTSC version of Perfect Dark. You can also play you can play the games with a converter. I'm not sure I've got the converter here. I think it's upstairs. And we say that's Perfect Dark, the NTSC version. And generally the NTSC games are worth more as they play full speed, full screen, whereas the English PAL ones aren't generally as much. And we say that's the NTSC Perfect Dark. Then we've got Mission Impossible. I've never played Mission Impossible, never seen the film, never seen it. And we say I imagine it's a bit like GoldenEye. And we've got original Rogue Squadron. So that's the original Rogue Squadron. I mean, this is enhanced for the expansion pack. I don't think it requires the pack. I mean, say that was one of the expansions for the N64 back in the film. I think it added, what was it, 8? I can't remember how much memory it actually added. I think it was like 4 meg or something. And this is also, I mean, say people remember the Rumble pack for the N64. That was in the thing. I'll show you the game that comes with a Rumble pack in a bit. And we said that was designed for a Rumble pack. We've got Hexen. This is basically like a fantasy version of Doom. I don't think I remember playing this. I've played other games all like this on the PC. So I remember playing the original Doom, and I remember stuff like Rise of the Triad and stuff like that. So I imagine that Hexen's like a fantasy themed Doom. And that's... these games are in reasonably good condition. This is Star Fox 64. This is again the NTSC version. This is yeah. And this is basically like a Star Fox was on the thing, on the SNES. Other than this version, you can unlock a ground vehicle as well, which is a thing. And you get a Rumble pack in the box. So if you don't have a Rumble pack, look out for the NTSC version of Star Fox 64. It has a Rumble pack in the box, which is basically you plug into the slot in the N64 controller, and you can have some vibration. Then this is GoldenEye 007. That's the classic James Bond game. It's probably the best James Bond game, isn't it, really? So this is the NTSC version, which is worth more. I sold my friend basically the European version as well, and I got as much as I got for the machine. Right. And we got Pilot Wings 64. So this is Pilot Wings on the N64 with the various things. I mean, say there are not many games in the Pilot Wings series. It started as Pilot Wings on the SNES. There's also one on I believe on the DS that I'm missing. There's only 3 games, I believe. This one, and the 3DS one. And they got Wave Race. I mean, say I don't think this game was very well optimized for PAL machines, but this is the NTSC version. It runs full speed, full screen, no borders, nothing. It's a fun jet ski game. Lovely. Then we've got Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. So this is a Star Wars game. It's a original one. It has, I think it has some of each. Some of the levels are a lot more like a platform game, and some are more like vehicle based, I believe. I don't think it's as good as Rogue Squadron, but it's okay. It's Star Wars anyway. And then we've got Extreme G, which is kind of like a cross between a bike, kind of futuristic cycling bike hover bikes is the best way to describe it. Yeah, it's hover bike based, so it's like a racing game. And so I like my racing games. I'm a big fan of racing games, and say I like this one. I mean, say it's a bit like a Wipeout kind of game, and say they need to say that I don't think there were many games in the series. I think it was like a one-off. That's Extreme G. And lastly, we'll move on to Turok Dinosaur Hunter. So the main complaint about this when it came out was the pop-up. It said basically there was a load of fog in most of the levels. It was basically to hide the problems with the hardware, because they're basically rendering the graphics in ahead, and the fog was designed to stop people seeing the draw distance on the graphics. Now they could probably do it in real time. And that's Turok Dinosaur Hunter. I mean, it's to say that's the thing. So now we'll do. Certainly, the next one in the series, I probably should. I'll just pick the next. I'll do the Game Boy Advance, because it's the next one I can see. I think I've gone out of sequence and I haven't done them in chronological order, but it doesn't matter. We'll just get through them. All right, so we'll go on to Game Boy Advance. So Game Boy Advance, I got on launch. I got my Game Boy Advance on launch, which is the original model. Which I feel I've still got it actually. They say the model I would play on though for the Game Boy is the SP. So the SP was the last model that had it had back compatibility up to the original Game Boy games, but the original Game Boy games do stick out of the cartridge slot quite a bit if you're trying to play them, but it will play them. And it's as I say that was the model I'd recommend. The game, it was the SP. Although I don't like taking my Zelda one out particularly often, as it's I think it's relatively expensive. Anyway, let's start with the Game Boy Advance games, and then I'll work my way back to the original Game Boy and so forth. Right, so we've got Game Boy Advance. So this is they're going to be lots of Pokemon games. So this is Pokemon Ruby. That's what I paid for it. They're worth way more than that now. I remember finding 20 quid on the floor, and I was like, what shall I invest it in? And I was like, I'll put it into this game. So this is now available as Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I mean, to say this version still is still worth money. And you say most of the games are, even in their original versions. There are people that still collect them. I mean, I quite like a full set. I'm trying to get most of them. I'll see what I can get them for. I mean, as I say, I got quite a few recently. Anyway, that's Pokemon Ruby, one of the better games in the series. And we go Pokemon Leaf Green. So this is the original Pokemon Leaf Green, which is which is the remake of the first game in the series, but on the Game Boy Advance, so it's got better style graphics. It also came with this little Game Boy Advance wireless adapter. I mean, just to say, make sure that you get it with the game if you're trying to go through these sets. I mean, say this one is good mint. I mean, this one was new. I believe Ruby was secondhand. Anyway, just say that's one of the better games. Then we say one of my better Cherry Shop games is Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stone. So this is the only Fire Emblem game I've played. I bought it from the charity shop, and they say I didn't pay very much for it. I think it was in the 2-3 quid region. They had another game at the time which was, I believe, might have been Astro Boy or something, which unfortunately wasn't complete and didn't have the cart, but someone might have nicked it. But I say this one's quite expensive, and I say all the Fire Emblem games are worth buying. I mean, to say this one's quite expensive. I believe this is over the £100 mark. Then we have Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Then you say that was the first Zelda game I played, was Link to the Past. I played the original version, the SNES version, but I say this cartridge has something else which is quite special. It also has 4 swords on it. That is not to be confused with the GameCube 4 swords. This is a different version of 4 swords, and considering this is multiplayer only, I haven't played it, so it needs like a game. It needs like you to have like 4 Game Boys and like 4 copies of the game, I believe. I think you need 4 copies of the game anyway. And you say I haven't played that version of 4 Swords, but I feel it's going to be similar to the GameCube one, but I believe it's an entirely different game. Anyway, as I say, I've had it since new. Then we've got Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. So the first Final Fantasy Tactics game I played was Final Fantasy Tactics on the PlayStation, and he said this is a continuation. There's also Final Fantasy Tactics 2, I believe. So I think there's 3 games in the series, and you say they're well worth playing. They're Final Fantasy crossed with a more tactical RPG, like something like Disgaea or something like that. And we said they're well worth playing. And we've got Final Fight. I mean, say this one is this is one of the better ways to play Final Fight. As say, Final Fight was originally been going since the original arcade, but this one has got something slightly different. And say you can unlock various characters and stuff based on repeating the game. I believe this version might have all more levels and stuff that aren't in the original games. And I believe you can unlock other characters and that. I mean, you say when it released on the console originally, you couldn't play as Coddy and Guy on the same version because they could only get 2 on the SNES. And you say they cut one of the characters and they had to release Guy separately as Final Fight Guy as instead. So that might be one of the better ways to play it. I mean, you say this is one of my more recent games. And you say thank you to Dan, which is I mean, I don't know if you're watching, but like I say, thank you for selling me Shining Soul. I paid 20 quid for this. Within like a couple of months. I mean, you said this is one of my more recent games. I don't remember. I've played some of the Shining Force games, but I haven't played this one. So this is I think this is the second one in the series. I believe the first one is more expensive. Anyway, it says this is Shining Soul, which is a continuation. I believe it's in the Shining Force series. Yeah, looks like it. Anyway, say that's Shining Soul, sorry. And this is Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I remember playing one of the earlier ones. I think it was the Game Boy one. And so this is a platform action kind of puzzle game. You have to open like various doors and locks and stuff in the thing. I mean, say it's not like the original Donkey Kong. It's got Donkey Kong in it though. That's my Game Boy Advance games. Oh, I feel like also I got so the one of the games I got Minish Cap, so yeah, that won't be in with the main games. So Minish Cap will probably be in a loose cartridge, so it's probably the manual will also be in the box with the Game Boy. So I've got Minish Cap as well, but that isn't here. Okay, so we'll do Game Boy Color next. So we go Game Boy Color. So Game Boy Color, I believe I got the Game Boy Color when it came out again. So alright, so we're going to go. Some of these games are going to be American as well. I believe some of them I got on import. So this is Pokemon Pinball. I believe this one is an import copy as well. And this one is like an adaptation. So this is a cross between Pokemon and a pinball game. So they didn't really do this very often. And this also, the cartridge is slightly different in the fact it has Rumble built in. I believe you have to put a battery in it as well. Anyway, this is Pokemon Pinball. Well worth playing. I think it's one of the better pinball games and in general, really, as long with Devil's Crash and stuff like Kirby's Pinball, which I'll show you in a minute. Well worth playing. I believe there's a second one based on the like second or third gen, but I haven't got that one. Anyway, that's Pokemon Pinball. Then we've got Pokemon Silver. So that's the second game, which, I mean, I started at the first one. You see in the thing. I mean, these are mint. I mean, the further you go back, the more expensive these games. These Pokemon games are mainly NTSC ones because I imported them near when they came out. So, and they're generally mint. I feel though the original the games go back, they're probably around a couple of 200, maybe 175, somewhere around that. Anyway, that's Pokemon, the second one. I do feel, though, the monster design is going a bit off-piste now, so they're less original the further they go. There's the odd good ones, but, like, I think the original 150 are the ones that stand the test of time, and there's some ones later, but not as many. Anyway, so now we go on to other things. So we've got Tetris DX. So this is Tetris, the original. I've got to say this is one of the best Tetris games. I mean, say I think it's better than the original one. Well, for me it is anyway because you can play in color. I mean, to say you can. These games, some of these Game Boy Color games, you can also play on an original Game Boy, and they just put them in grayscale. So it's basically like playing the original Tetris. I mean, that's Tetris DX. I think that's one of the best Tetris games. Then we've got Dragon Warrior Monsters. So this is like a cross between Dragon Quest and Pokemon. So there's, yes, it's a cross between Dragon's Quest and Pokemon. So they're basically like that. And as I say, I think there might be another one in the series, but like it's quite good fun if you like the franchise. I mean, you say the Zelda Game Boy Color games. So this was Oracle of Seasons games. So there are 2 Game Boy games that on the Game Boy Color that are thing, and these aren't produced by Nintendo. I believe these were produced by Capcom. There was originally going to be a third game in the series, but they didn't finish it. And they said these are the only 2 that made it. I mean, they're not. If you look at the cover, you think it's a bit like Pokemon, and they've got like a different version. and only have minor differences between the two, but no, they're completely different games. So this one and the next one are worth getting. I think they're on the expensive side. So this is Oracle of Oracle of Seasons, the first one, and then there's Oracle of Ages, the second one. And then they say these are completely different games. There's similar graphical styles, but they're really good. They're well worth playing. And we say those are the two Game Boy Zelda games, and then we've got Mario Golf. I mean, say this one's also more interesting. So this is a thing because the single player is like a golf RPG game. So it's a cross between a golf game and an RPG. That's well worth playing. And you say that's one of the more interesting Mario Golf games. I mean, so now we've got original Game Boy games. So I've basically got a couple of ones that I've got only loose cart, and they've been with me ages. So this is Game Boy games, original GBA games. So these are all black and white Game Boy games. So this is Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. So they came out in these big. They had plastic cases on these big, nice hot cases, which are good for protecting them. And we say this is Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. I think that's one of the better Mario games, to be honest, of the early ones anyway. So it's Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. And then we've got some other loose carts. These are cart only, though. Basically, that's Super Mario Land, the original one, which is one of the games on the Game Boy. So there's, weirdly, on this one, there's like one level which is like a submarine level, and there's another game where you're like a biplane near the end. So that's one of the only Mario games where it's not like a purely platform game. One's more like a side-scrolling shooter, and that's Gargoyle's Quest, which is like a cross between. It's a continuation of Ghouls and Ghosts kind of thing, because. And they also did another one on I believe on the NES that's more obscure, and Demon's Crest on the SNES. So it's a cross between that and an RPG, because there's like an overworld and stuff, and it's a platform game. Anyway, it's a continuation of those style of games. Then we've got Jurassic Park. I said this is Jurassic Park on the Game Boy. It was like I think the Jurassic Park games have got lots of different style of games. I remember seeing this one's. The Mega Drive one and the SNES one, I feel, are very different games. So that's Jurassic Park. And then I've got a couple of original box games. So we've got Kirby's Pinball Land. So this one's mint or very good condition. They say this one's been with me quite a long time. I believe I got it from, I don't know if I got it new. I probably did get it new, actually. It might have been one of the later original Game Boy games. Although my Game Boy has passed away. Anyway, so that's the Kirby's Pinball Land. And then we're going to say one of the highlights. So this is Pokemon Blue. So originally Pokemon came in 3 flavours. There was blue, red, and there was a green version that only came out in Japan, I believe. So this is the original one. This is the NTSC one. I got it on import. I think I paid, that would have been when it came out, within the some amount of time of it coming out in America. I probably paid like 30 for it. I feel it's going to be at least probably a couple of hundred now, I would think. I mean, it's like, I don't use this one. I'd probably play a replica or use some other way to play it. Anyway, this is Pokemon Blue. I finished it originally when it came out, before it came out in Europe. I finished it near when it came out in America. And then we've got Super Mario Land 3. Or it's Wario Land. So it's I think that was the first Game Boy game to star Wario, actually. So it's Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. So that's well worth playing. I believe it's the first game to star Wario. And some of these Game Boy Color, Game Boy original games, if you play on the Game Boy Color up, you could have improve the graphics, because they'd add color to it. Although it'd be a limited color palette, it would still be some of them. All right. So we'll carry on with handheld games. No, it's probably easy. My dog's right by the handheld game, so I'll do the SNES next. So SNES is one of my favourite consoles. So I've had this SNES. I've had it ages. I got it. I think I got it for my birthday one year. It was only one of the consoles I got for my birthday, because I remember getting lots of consoles before, but I don't remember getting them necessarily on my birthday, because they were never normally out at the same point or never released. Yeah, so I believe I have the SNES for ages now. Anyway, so basically my SNES original model is still with me. I've got the edition that came with Super Mario World as a pack-in. I remember playing it on my birthday when I got it. I mean, to say, it's been with me ages now. I mean, many of the games haven't. I don't still have. I was to say the game. Mario World won't make this video, because I believe my copy's in the box with the machine. And I believe I have Super Street Fighter that I don't, I can't find at the moment. It's floating around somewhere. I only say I need to look for it. But say these are the games I currently have. I also remember having stuff like Pocky and Rocky, which I think goes for a lot now. I believe it's around £1,000. I mean, say there's a remake of that game on the Switch, so I'll probably get that way. I mean, say I'll show what I've got at the moment anyway. I mean, say, so I start off, most of my games are, they're all going to be, most of them are PAL again, other than a couple of exceptions at the moment. So I started playing my import games on the SNES. So this is the universal adapter which I use to play the American NTSC games. I mean, say I don't like the look of the American machine. It looks quite angular and blocky. The Famicom, the Japanese version, or SNES as it's known in Europe, look better and they're less angular and less blocky. Also, the American carts, I'll show you the American cart as I've got a loose one. So this is Illusion of Gaia, or Illusion of Time as it's known. It's more square and angular. The game itself is good. It's one of the RPGs which basically where I start and get most of my import gaming from. And we said that's Illusion of Time or Illusion of Gaia. And we say now we'll move on to some of my other stuff. So this is one of my more unusual things. And say this is a twin pack. So this. So most of the games you're about to see, I got in one lot. I got a collection. I got about most of the games here. I think I got around 10 games, yeah? I paid around 20 something for it. It was around 15 years, maybe 20 years back. And when you say this one's quite expensive, I don't know what it is. I saw Killer Instinct, the NTSC version of this, selling on Mr. Rightway, who's also a good YouTuber. Check out Mr. Rightway, big up. It was I saw a copy of Killer Instinct on his video the other day selling, and this is the one that comes with the Killer Instinct. It comes with the music CD. I saw it selling for around $200. I don't know how much this one is, but this is a twin pack, and most of the games within the twin pack kind of series are worth more than they would be the individual games. So this is Killer Instinct, which is the original version of Killer Instinct. There's also Killer Instinct Gold that came out on the N64. And we say Killer Instinct with the killer cuts with the CD, and it also comes with F-Zero as well. But back in the days, this would have been cheaper than buying the individual games. Now, I don't think it is. And we say both the games are well worth playing. Killer Instinct's a good fighting game. I mean, it's to say the combos you can do on that are silly. That's you can go around something like 50, 60 hits, maybe, we'll say. I mean, say there's a more recent Killer Instinct game on the, I was to say, from the Xbox era. And we say there's only around 3 games that gold on this. And we said that was the original F-Zero as well. So, and it's a really long box. I mean, say we'll carry on with the big box specials now. So say the other one in the big box series, and this was the best thing I got from the thing. So this is Super Metroid. This is the original. Is the one on the SNES. It comes in this edition in Europe. I mean, say it's not really a limited edition, or I don't really feel it is. I mean, say I had another copy of this. I sold my original one where you could actually trade them in for a reasonable price, and got this edition later when it was like I didn't pay very much for this one. I got it in a collection with 10 other games. It was around 20. It's got a 70+ page player's guide. I mean, you say this was, for people that don't know, so Metroid is one of the games where basically Metroidvania, the term comes from Metroid, and also Castlevania. So the Metroidvania is the cross between the two. So this is is also one of the last games in the Metroid series to be in the kind of 2D on the main console before they went into 3D, because they had a gap on the around the N64 and then resumed on the Cube. Anyway, this one's one of the better games in the series, and it's really quite popular still, and it's really popular with speedrunners as well, and they can clear it really quickly. I mean, say this was the so I've got Zombies. And we said this is Zombies Ate My Neighbours. There's also a sequel to this called Ghoul Panic. It's more like it's a bit like a Gauntlet game with more like a zombie kind of theme. And so this was, the person where I got my that collection only found this at the last minute, and it was like, do I want this as well? Cool. The ticket on it's like 70 quid. I remember them. I didn't remember them being that expensive when they came out. I thought they were more like around the £50 mark. Anyway, so that's Zombies. I don't remember playing that one. I mean, you say that's Pilot Wings. And you say that's Pilot Wings, so that's the original in the series. So that's the first one I remember, and it's a fun arcade flight simulator kind of thing. You have various controls thing. You have like a hang glider, a plane, like what's called the jet, like a rocket rocket belt or something. It's like a jetpack style of thing. And we said this is on the more arcade end of the spectrum. It's easier to control. And we said people that aren't don't play the flight games with the realistic controls, this is still worth playing. And as I said, this is one of the best style of this kind of games, and is still enjoyable for the average consumer that are more used to the arcade controls. Then we've got another racing game. We've got Uni Rally. So this is Uni Rally. So this is like a cycle kind of game. So it's basically the levels are quite short. They're basically you can do various stunts and various things. So it's a cross between a stunt game and a racing kind of game. And we've got Mortal Kombat 2, the original version. It's Mortal Kombat 2 for the SNES. Yes, people, they did release Mortal Kombat games on the Nintendo platform. Because at the back of the time, Nintendo were very family focused and not it's on the violence and the various things. And I think the original Mortal Kombat was quite heavily cut on the SNES. I don't believe it had blood or any of that kind of effects. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure this one survived most of the censorship. And anyway, that's Mortal Kombat 2 on the SNES. And we've got Punch Out. So this is Super Punch Out. This is the sequel to Punch Out, and I showed you the early Punch Out game. So it's now just been discovered that you can play this in multiplayer, which means you have to input a button code. I'm assuming you could do it on this version, which is like the physical version. You can also play this game on the expansion pass on the Switch. And we say that's a Super Punch Out. Then we've got Star Wing. The original version. Oh, this game is called Star Fox in NTSC territory, so that's Star Wing. I believe it's because there was also another game released with a similar title in that in Europe anyway. It was also one of the first games to use the Super FX chip, which is also enabled the SNES to basically gain like extra features and do various other effects that weren't popular. It was also using games like Stunt Race FX, I believe. And then we've got Super Mario Kart, the original Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart. So this is the original Super Mario Kart, people. It came out in 1992. It was sort of like I think I remember having it near to when it came out. I would have been 10 when this came out. Anyway, say that's Super Mario Kart. I still remember playing this. I mean, say yeah, they all play still really, really well nowadays. And say that's Super Mario Kart. And then we've got Super Mario All-Stars. And you just say this game is Super Mario All-Stars. So, and it's got my tag on it. I think I lent it to someone or took it to school at some point. Anyway, see, I've got Super Mario All-Stars. Contains Mario Brothers 1, 2, 3, and Super Mario Lost Levels, all in one cartridge. And you said this was basically like the Mario compilation they did recently. Other than that, Mario compilation was only available for a short period. This one was available for like a long time. So this was basically enable you to play all the NES games on the SNES with improved graphics and resolution. And yes, that's Super Mario All-Stars. I'd recommend it. It's basically buying all the, like, you're getting 4 Mario games for your money. Yeah, my dog's still having a nap next to the DS stuff, so we'll do the NES first. So NES, I've got my model of NES. I've got is the action set, I believe it. So it's the one with the zapper. So so I've got the one with the zapper. So I've basically showed the games though. So it comes with, I believe it comes with the like Duck Hunt and that, but that's not going to make this video. Anyway, so this is Wizards and Warriors. I mean, say I had 2 NESs. I bought one and I sold one. One went to a museum because it was in such good condition. But these are the games I still have. So this is Wizards and Warriors. So this is basically, it's a bit like Ghouls and Ghosts, I would think. I can't remember a huge amount about that one. Anyway, so it's cart only. Then I go on to the one box game I have. So this is Paperboy. Iconic game. It's based on the arcade game where you go around delivering papers in and lobbying them at houses and stuff like that. It's Paperboy. I mean, so this is Micro Machines. So this is like a multiplayer game. So I'll show you the Micro Machines cart. So the Micro Machines cart is weird. It's like, look at this. This doesn't look like a normal NES cart. It's like this weird shape. It's like, yeah, that doesn't look like any of a normal NES game. I believe they might be. Nintendo took Codemasters court for some reason, because I think they unofficially made the game and didn't have the official license, and Nintendo at the time weren't very keen on people not releasing games without their permission, so I think they took them to court for it. Anyway, so that's Micro Machines. It's a good game. I definitely recommend Micro Machines. This is Tiny Toons. I think it's Tiny Toon Adventures. So these are basically, these games are mostly complete. They're in the loose case with the manuals though. They don't have the outer case. So that's Tiny Toon Adventures. I don't remember playing this one. I've played the SNES one. And so Dr. Mario. So this is a puzzle game. So this is like a Mario's cross with the columns kind of games. You have to eliminate the viruses on the screen. And this is Dr. Mario. We're going speed. So Super Mario 3, the original version of Super Mario 3. That's one of the best Mario games. And we got Digger, The Legend of the Lost City. I think it's like an action platformer. I can't remember. I haven't played it. And we go Track and Field 2. So that's Track and Field 2 on the NES. Time Lord. Don't remember much about that one. Lolo 2. So that's a kind of puzzle game. Yes, so there's... I also believe there are different versions of it which have different sets of puzzles. I don't know if the American one's got slightly different sets of puzzles or something like that. I remember it being in a John Riggs video, and I recommend John Riggs as well. He does lots of content. And we say that's Lolo 2. And then one of my favourites, so that's the original Zelda. It's not in great condition. It doesn't have the thing, but it does have the... It has all the stuff, the map and everything. So, and they also, for those people that don't know, Zelda, they seem to look like... So Zelda was released with a gold cartridge. They keep some of the things, the later ones came out with various things. So the one that came out later basically had gold, like the one with the Wiimote came out with a gold Wiimote, and the Game Boy and DS limited edition, for instance, are gold. Anyway, so that's Legend of Zelda, the original one. Well worth getting. You can also play Zelda on the PC for free. I believe it's called Zelda Classic, which is... And you can also get a level editor with it and stuff. Zelda. Right, so we're going to move on to the DS games. Right. So DS, I had my DS... My dog's still there. She's still having a sleep. And we said we shouldn't be too long now. It's just DS to go and a couple of extra things. So I've had my DS since launch. I got it originally when it came out of... I'll remember what games I got with it on launch in a minute. I mean, to say my DS gave up after a while. The hinges went on it, and it was an original model. Anyway, so now you can play, and you can play most of these DS games on the 3DS anyway. Anyway, let's start with the games. We'll do the Pokemon games first. Oh, no, I'll do this one first. So this is more like, okay, so this is a DS multi-cart. For those people who don't know, it's the naughty way to play the DS games. This has got 600 games on the one thing. It's not officially licensed by Nintendo or anything. So this is interesting, though, how it comes, though. So you open the box. I mean, say you can get these easily on eBay. I mean, say so this it looks like a traditional DS game like this, but then you open it. Yeah, it looks like a traditional DS cart, but then it's got like an SSD built into it, so it's got like a 32 gig SSD, and it's got like a flash card. So it's got like 600 games in it. It's got all the main series games. It's got Pokemon. It's got like most of the RPGs and stuff. Anyway, it's 600 games. I mean, I prefer playing the originals, but like it works. Okay, so this Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver. So this is the big box edition that comes with the Pokewalker accessory. I believe they were normally released like this in Europe. I believe the American ones, they generally can come without the thing. Anyway, this is the original version. I mean, I found a version of this in the charity shop recently, and I've traded it to my friend. Thanks, Mike. Anyway, this is my version. I hope you're watching this anyway. So this is Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver. This is one of the best games in the series, even the remake of this. So basically, this is quite expensive. This game in this condition, which is like 176. I looked it up like last week, and this is like 176. Anyway, there's Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver. Well, good. And then we got Pokemon Pearl. So this is another NTSC one. I got this one from it would have been Computer Exchange. I remember my dad getting it with me. So it's the original Pokemon Pearl. I mean, these ones aren't as expensive as some of them, but like they get there. They'll get there eventually. Oh, I need to finish. I need to carry on. I've only got 20% battery. Okay, so that's Pokemon Pearl. So we've got Pokemon Platinum. So this is basically improved edition of Diamond and Pearl. So this is Platinum, and so this is the American edition. And so the American edition is worth 80, the British one's worth about 50. I mean, say it's an improved version of those. I think it's got other things that are improved on it. Anyway, so that's that one. Then we're going to go through them quicker. So that's Pokemon White version 2. I believe Pokemon Black and White had one of my favourite Pokemon in it. It was Minccino and Chinchino, which I have 2 chinchillas in real life. So the Pokemon designers, well, we went on a field trip to the zoo. I believe they must have seen a chinchilla. For those that don't know chinchilla, it's a rodent. It's the king of the rodent family. It's also one of the more expensive rodents you can buy. And so they can live quite a long time. They can live into their 20s. And we say mine are going on strong now. Mine will be 16 and 19 this year. And we say look up a chinchilla. And we say this is Black version 2. So this is one of the only Pokemon games in the series that basically had a game that sort of carries on. So this is Black version 2. They also have White version 2. You're about to see the other one in a minute. As I say, that's Black version 2. So this is Black, Pokemon Black originally. Then we go to spin-off games. You've got Ranger. So this is Ranger, so this is more like an action one which involves you catching various things, but the combat isn't in that kind of time. It involves more like using the stylus and that. It's Pokemon Ranger. And then you've got the Mystery Dungeon one. So this is basically a Pokemon cross with Mystery Dungeon game, which is like a spin-off. So you're basically going around a dungeon. The aim is to try and finish the dungeon, but you basically need to gain levels and stuff and level up. I mean, so that's one of the games. There's some other ones available, but I haven't got all of them. I said this is another one of the ones I got recently. So that's Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia. So that's the sequel to Pokemon Ranger, but it's got Pokemon from another generation in it. So I remember what one that is. There's Pokemon Ranger. I mean, so we'll go on to the next pile. So we've got twin stick shooters, so that's Geometry Wars Galaxies. You can also link it to Geometry Wars. As you say, this is going to be another long video, probably over 2 hours. And so we're going Big Bang Mini, so that's another shooting game on the thing. And so people say that you don't get many shooters on the DS, but there is some. I mean, as I say, that's quite cool. That's Big Bang Mini. And then we've got Bang.io, which is the sequel. It's basically like Bang.io on the thing. You can see what I paid for it in the days. There's like played most of the Bang.io games. There's only like two or three in the series, and say that's Bang.io on the DIS. Really good. I mean, it says Nanostray. This is another shmup on the DS. There's not much to say. There we go. There's that one. Then we go Mario. That's the original Super Mario on the DS. And Mario 64 DS. I wouldn't recommend this one. I'd probably prefer to play it on the N64 in the original cart. I feel it plays much better that way. I don't feel the controls. I think it plays better with analog controls. Playing it on the DS is like not the best way to play. And we've got the Brain Age games, brain training games. They're just a bit fun. I mean, like these were back in the time. Many people that weren't generally gamers, they were aimed at. So that's more brain training. That's the second game in the series. And then you've got Brain Training, the original. That's the first one in the series. We've got Mr. Driller, which is another game in the Mr. Driller series. There's loads of ways to play this game. And I said this is a fun puzzle game. It's made loads of my other videos. That's Mr. Driller. Mario Kart DS. So I remember playing this against someone in Link before Cable Mario. That's Mario Kart on the DS. Got WarioWare. That's a WarioWare game on the DS. And then we've got another slightly different one. So this is WarioWare Do It Yourself. So this is a WarioWare game in which case you can make your own WarioWare games. You can make levels and everything for it. It's really good. It's probably one of the best ones. And there's not any other Wario games where you can make your own levels. And we say this is Metroid Prime Hunters. So the Metroid Prime Hunters is a fun Metroid thing. It's more like it's kind of like the GameCube version, other than it's not quite as good graphically. But that was the main game, and you also basically in Europe you generally got this with a pack in. So this is Metroid Prime Hunters, the first one, which is effectively the demo of that game, and it generally came as a pack in. Then we've got Track and Field on the DS, which is the fun game bashing bottom thing. It's got some interesting characters from Konami's back history. You can also play as Pentaru the Penguin, but I'm not sure I remember unlocking him because it was quite difficult for me. I'm not great. It's by Sumo Digital that also did stuff like Outrun as well. And now we're on to RPGs, Heroes of Mana. So this is I can't remember much about this one. I think it's slightly different. It's in this continuation of the series of Secret of Mana, but I'm not sure it plays like that game. I can't remember too much about it. Anyway, it was only £3. And we've got Zeldas. So we've got Zelda Spirit Tracks. So that's Zelda crossed with Train. Train is, I haven't played that one. I've played the other one, but not that one. I'll play it at some point. Zelda. I've got Phantom Hourglass. And got Dragon's Quest, so that's Dragon's Quest 9, so that's one of the better Dragon's Quest games. And they said there's lots of Dragon's Quest games on the DS, there's tons of them. I mean, so some of them are remakes, some of them are their own games. And they said this is one of them, that's Dragon's Quest 9. Then we've got Advance Wars. Dark Conflict, so that's, I think, is the second game. Oh, I think there are 2 games or something like that in the series. I think they're remaking Advance Wars on the Switch. I mean, say I don't actually think it's not as good as I think it'd be. I'm not that keen on it. I didn't particularly like the setting. It's a bit too gritty and realistic for me. It's not as colourful as some of the other games, and it's like, I think I prefer Fire Emblem, but that's Advance Wars. Then we've got Might and Magic. So this is Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. So this is Might and Magic, which is like an other style RPG game, but this isn't really Might and Magic. It's Might and Magic crossed with like a puzzle game. So it's a bit like you have to line up various things and match characters. It's quite innovative. There's also other Might and Magic games that I've played online as well. I mean, it's Might and Magic Clash and Heroes. It's more like a puzzle game, but it's very good. And then we've got the Professor Layton games to finish. Apparently these go for more in America, according to a video I watched the other day. Anyway, what was that? Just sorry about that. I mean, it's the Professor Layton games, so they're like puzzle games crossed with like some storyline. That's Professor Layton and the Lost Future. I think that was the first game. No, that's not the first game. That might be the second game. And there's Spectre's Call. And there's also other ones on the Switch, 3DS that I haven't got. Professor Layton and the Curious Village. That's definitely the first game. And now to finish with, I've got some other various things. I'll just get up. Yeah, so to finish with, obviously, I'm going to show my other. So before Nintendo did their their consoles, they basically did various things. So they're called, for people that didn't know, they're called Game & Watches. So basically, I'll show you my Game & Watches that I've basically had. So my first one is, say, these are also available as, you can get them like digitally, effectively. You can get various Game & Watch compilations, but these are the original things. So these are handheld. So this is Mario Brothers. This is the Game & Watch Mario Brothers. So this came out in 1983. So they came out like this. They're like miniature handhelds. So this is, and they can be, you can get them, but they say they look out from them. They have battery cap on the back, and they also take like a circular battery, which I think is a C. So they're basically harder to get the batteries for them. Anyway, this one's mint. It's not box. I had a box one and sold it, but say I bought 5-6 Game & Watches at the car boot, and I sold them. I basically traded them in, and I put them towards my PS1 collection. I traded them to get PS1 American imports. Anyway, so this is Mario Bros. Game & Watch. This came out in 1983. This one is also one of the dual screen ones. They also came out, they did various series of Game & Watch. So some were more like a single screen and were more like a portable. I mean, so these are the dual screen range. So this is Mario Bros. Game & Watch. So this one is, they're quite expensive. I mean, this one's mint. It's got no damage on the screen or anything. It's not boxy. It's completely loose. But like, I've had it for ages. I had a box one. I think the box one is like 250 or somewhere around that mark. This one isn't as much, but I'm happy to have it anyway. Don't play it very often though. And my only other Game & Watch is the Donkey Kong one. I believe there was also another Donkey Kong Game & Watch. There were like maybe 2. So this is Donkey Kong. This is Donkey Kong. Unfortunately, this one isn't as in good condition as the other one. There's like wear on the screen, and it doesn't unfortunately have the battery cap on the back, so the battery caps are prone to being lost. I mean, say it's not in bad condition. The screen is okay, but like that's Donkey Kong anyway. I mean, say it's like Donkey Kong on the Game & Watch. Anyway, say that's all of my Nintendo collection. Anyway, thank you for watching, people. Like, comment and subscribe, and it will help the channel if we grow. I mean, say I'm looking forward to carrying on, and so I'm always going to do these videos. I aim to do one a month. I mean, say the next one I do will probably be, I'll probably do light gun games, or I might do a bit more retro and maybe do some about my disc-based stuff, maybe PC and Amiga. Anyways, as I say, I've been on for a while. My dog's still with me. She's been in the room for the whole video. She's having a snooze in the corner. Anyways, as I say, thanks very much for watching, people. I'll see you in the next one. Love ya. Bye.